I never asked for another war. After losing my wife, I thought the battlefield was behind me. But raising my daughter alone turned out to be the hardest fight of all. Then one night, I saw her, the woman dragged into a van, the moment that changed everything. My past, my instincts, my rage, all of it came flooding back. I wasn't just a father anymore. I was a soldier again. But this time, the war isn't for glory. It's for love, survival, and the only family I have left. Do you believe fate can drag us into battles we never expected? If yes, like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Daddy, are you awake? Lily's tiny voice pulled me from another restless dream. My eyes snapped open, sweat running down my neck. I forced a smile as her little face hovered above mine, hair sticking out in every direction. I'm awake, soldier, I whispered, brushing a strand away. Did you have a bad dream? She shook her head. No, I just wanted to make sure you weren't having one. God, she sees too much. 7 years old and already protecting me. I'm fine, sweetheart, I lied. My chest still ached from a memory of my wife's face. Hollow, fading, whispering goodbye through a hospital mask. I pushed it down and sat up. Let's get you ready for school. She grinned, missing tooth and all. Can I wear the rainbow socks? I chuckled. Those socks have seen more battles than me. Go on, grab M. While she ran off, the quiet crept back in. The apartment was too small, too cold, too full of bills stacked on the counter. I rubbed my temples, muttering one more shift. Just keep moving. Daddy, cereal? She shouted from the kitchen. Yeah, I got it. I walked in, pouring the last of the milk. Half a cup. She didn't complain, just smiled as if it was a feast. You're my favorite person, she said through a mouthful of cornflakes. I swallowed hard. You're mine too, Lilybug. That's what keeps me standing. Her laughter, her joy in scraps of life most people overlook. Without her, I'd have nothing but the ghosts. Night fell too soon. After dropping her with our neighbor Mrs. Diaz, I headed to my second job, security guard at some rundown building on the edge of the city. Not glamorous, not safe, but it paid enough to keep the lights on. As I walked the streets, neon signs flickering over cracked sidewalks, my boots fell heavy with each step. My mind slipped back to Afghanistan, the sound of mortars, the smell of burning sand. I hated how often the city reminded me of war zones. I muttered to myself, same fight, different battlefield. Halfway through the shift, I heard it, a muffled scream. My head snapped toward the alley. At first, I thought it was just the usual city noise, arguments, drunks, trash bins kicked over. But then I saw them, a woman, dressed in a sleek black dress, heels broken, makeup streaked with tears. 2 men shoved her toward a black van, their hands clamped over her mouth. Her eyes locked with mine for one split second. Terror, desperation. My pulse spiked. My body moved before my brain could. Hey! I roared, my voice bouncing off brick walls. The men froze, then shoved her harder. She thrashed, kicking muffled screams louder. Let her go. I sprinted, boots pounding the concrete. The air thickened, every nerve firing like it was 2011 again. My heart screamed not again, not another life slipping away in front of me. The taller thug pulled a knife. Back off, oh man. Oh man. I almost laughed. 35 and already broken down. But I wasn't backing off. Not when a woman's life was on the line. Not when Lily was waiting at home, counting on me to be the man who never walks away. I grabbed a loose pipe off the ground. My knuckles tightened, training kicking in like it never left. The woman's muffled voice cracked through my head like gunfire. Please. That was it. That was the moment the soldier in me returned. I charged. The men cursed, dragging her closer to the van. Tires screeched as the driver revved the engine. I closed the gap fast, swinging the pipe hard into the arm of the one holding the knife. Bone snapped and he howled. The woman stumbled free for a second, only to be yanked back by the other thug. Run! I shouted at her, even as I blocked another swing. My fists, elbows, knees, all came back in a blur of rage. But then, Tires spun. The van lurched forward. They shoved her inside like she was nothing but cargo. No! I screamed, sprinting with every ounce of strength I had left. The back door slammed shut, her terrified eyes disappearing into the dark. The van screeched around the corner, engine roaring. I didn't think. I didn't breathe. My legs just moved. I chased the van into the night, my heart hammering, lungs burning. One thought echoing louder than the sirens starting to rise in the distance. I couldn't save my wife, but I'll save her. And I ran. My boots slammed against the asphalt as the van screeched ahead of me. My lungs burned, but I kept running. Not this time. Not again. You're not losing her. The night blurred past. Graffiti walls, broken streetlights, the stink of rot. My legs pushed harder, veins on fire. The same panic I felt watching my wife slip away clawed at me. The same helplessness. Stop. I roared, my voice tearing the air. The van swerved into a side street. Bad choice. Narrow alley, no exit. My pulse spiked. I had them. The doors burst open. 3 men spilling out, guns flashing in the dim light. Back off, hero! One snarled, raising his weapon. I raised my hand slowly, pipe still gripped tight. Let her go. A muffled scream tore from inside the van, her voice raw, desperate. Something in it cracked my chest wide open. Please help me. I snapped. Before the gun cleared the thug's jacket, I swung hard. The pipe slammed against his wrist. Bone crunched. The gun clattered. He screamed. I grabbed the weapon midair and rammed it into his gut, sending him down. The second man rushed me, knife flashing. I twisted, muscle memory flooding back. My forearm blocked. My elbow cracked against his jaw. He spat blood and lunged again. Rage lit me up. I slammed his head against the van door until he slumped, groaning. The third man froze, gun aimed straight at me. Stay down, he barked. I stared at him, chest heaving. Shoot me, but she's walking out of that van. His lip curled. You'll die first. The door behind him rattled. The woman's sobs cut through again. That sound, it was Lily's cry I heard instead. My daughter begging for me. I couldn't let her down. My grip tightened on the pipe. Do it fast. Don't think. I hurled the pipe at his face. He flinched, shot firing wide. The flash burned my vision, but my body moved. 2 strides. Then my shoulder slammed into his chest. The gun went flying. We hit the pavement hard, fists and rage exploding. He clawed at my face. I drove my knuckles into his nose. Cartilage snapped. His scream echoed. My blood mixed with his as I pounded until his eyes rolled back. I staggered to my feet, panting, ears ringing. My knuckles dripped red. My heart wouldn't slow. I yanked the van door open. She was there, hands bound, mouth gagged, eyes wild with terror. But she wasn't broken. She met my gaze, fierce even through the tears. You're safe now, I rasped, ripping the gag free. Her first breath came out like a sob. Don't leave me. I won't. I cut the rope from her wrists, pulling her out into the night. She stumbled, legs weak, clutching my arm like it was the only thing real. Who are you? She whispered, shaking. I didn't answer. Couldn't. My mind was too loud. Lily's face, my wife's last breath, the blood on my hands. Behind me, gravel crunched. I spun. The first man, the one with a broken wrist, was crawling away, clutching his arm, spitting curses. You'll regret this, he shouted hoarsely. You're dead, soldier, dead. Then he limped into the dark before I could catch him. I cursed under my breath. That wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The woman's nails dug into my arm. Don't let him come back. Please. Her voice shook, but her chin lifted, pride holding her up. She wasn't weak. She refused to break. I steadied her, forcing myself to breathe. He won't touch you again. Not while I'm standing. She stared at me, eyes narrowing as if trying to read who the hell I was. My chest heaved, my fists ached, and the truth slammed into me like a bullet. I hadn't just saved a stranger. I just stepped into a war. Her grip, was still trembling on my arm as we left the alley. I half-dragged, half-carried her through the dark streets until we found a flickering neon sign, vacancy. The motel stank of cigarettes and mold, but it had 4 walls and a lock. That was enough. Inside, I shut the door, pushed a chair under the handle, and turned to her. "You hurt?" She shook her head quickly, eyes darting to the window. "No, just shaken." "You've got a name?" "Elena," she whispered, voice rasping. "Elena Winters." I froze. The name hit me like a bullet. Everyone knew that name. "You're joking." She met my eyes, chin lifting despite the fear still clinging to her. "Do I look like I'm joking?" I swallowed hard. Elena Winters, billionaire, CEO, a woman whose face was splashed across every financial magazine I'd ever seen while waiting in the welfare office. And I had just pulled her out of a van like she was nothing more than another terrified civilian. "What the hell are you doing in my neighborhood?" I asked. She let out a bitter laugh. "Surviving. Same as you, apparently." I rubbed my face. "Billionaires don't just get dragged off the street. Someone set you up." Her hands clenched. "My rivals. They want control of my company. If I disappear, the board flips. They've been circling for months. Tonight, they finally made their move." I shook my head, pacing. "So you're saying if I hadn't been there, they'd have killed me," she said flatly. The words hung heavy in the stale air. I leaned against the dresser, chest tight. "Look, I don't know what you're fighting, but I can't." "You already did," she cut in. "You saved my life." Her eyes burned into me, like she was trying to peel away the layers I'd built up. For a second, I forgot the blood on my knuckles, forgot the stink of this room. Then Lily's face shot through my mind. Her little voice, "Daddy, are you awake?" I clenched my jaw. "I've got a daughter. That's all that matters. I can't get dragged into your mess." She studied me, head tilting. "You don't want money?" I almost laughed. "Lady, I want nothing more than money. But not like this. My kid's not for sale." Her lips parted like she wanted to argue, then shut again. For the first time, I saw it. Cracks in the steel facade the world knew. She wasn't the untouchable queen of skyscrapers. She was just a woman who'd almost been taken. "I've never been this afraid," she whispered, staring at the stained carpet. "I've walked into boardrooms filled with wolves, stared down men who wanted to ruin me. But tonight," her voice shook. "Tonight I felt small. Something twisted in me. I hated it. Hated seeing her crumble, because it reminded me of my wife's hospital bed, the helplessness, the begging eyes." I forced my tone steady. "You'll get through this. You're not alone anymore." She looked up sharply. "Why? Why would you risk yourself for me? You don't even know me." I exhaled. "Because once, I didn't save the person I love most. I'll never let that happen again." Her eyes softened, and for a heartbeat too long, we just stood there in silence. Something unspoken filled the space between us. I tore my gaze away, muttering, "Don't read into it. I'm no hero. I'm just a dad trying to keep the lights on." "Maybe," she said quietly. "But tonight, you were more than that." Her words dug under my skin. I didn't want them there. I sat on the edge of the bed, running my hands through my hair. Stay out of this. Protect Lily. That's it. But deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. A sudden noise cracked the night. Pop. I stiffened. Not fireworks. Not a car backfiring. Gunshots. Elena's face went pale. They found us. My instincts lit up. My heart thundered. I grabbed the gun I'd ripped from that thug earlier and checked the mag half full. Not enough. I glanced at Elena. "Stay down. Don't move until I say." Her eyes locked on mine, and for the first time, she didn't argue. I rose, pulse hammering, and moved toward the door. The war had followed us here, and it wasn't letting go. The crack of gunfire split the silence, and plaster rained from the wall above me. I shoved Elena down behind the bed. "Stay low." I hissed, my pulse hammering like a war drum. More shots tore through the window, glass exploding across the room. the air filled with the stench of gunpowder and dust. My body didn't hesitate. It moved the way it used to back when survival was all I knew. Are they inside? Elena whispered, her voice trembling. Not yet. I muttered, checking the magazine again. 5 rounds. Not nearly enough. Her wide eyes locked on mine. Can you stop them? I swallowed. I have to. The door rattled, then splintered as a boot slammed into it. I raised a gun and fired once. The shadow fell with a grunt. Another body crashed against the door frame, bullets shredding the mattress we crouched behind. Elena clutched my arm. They'll kill us. No. I cut her off, teeth clenched. Not while I'm breathing. The sound of her scream pulled me back 5 years. Hospital lights, monitors beeping, my wife gasping my name as I held her hand. I'd lost her, but not this time. Not again. I crawled to the dresser, yanked it over, and shoved it against the broken door. Another volley of shots rang out. The chair splintered, the dresser shook, but it held. For now. Can you run? I asked Elena. She blinked, stunned. Run? Where? Anywhere but here. We'll never outlast them in this box. Her lips parted, trembling. You sound like you've done this before. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. She saw it in my eyes. The wall behind us shattered. Plaster sprayed my neck as a bullet whizzed by. I grabbed her hand, yanked her toward the bathroom. Out the window. She stared at the narrow frame. I can't fit. You'll fit. Move. I shoved her through, glass cut in my palms as I forced it open wider. She scrambled halfway, heels catching, and I pushed harder until she tumbled into the alley below. Go! I barked, climbing after her. The second my boots hit the pavement, headlights blazed. A black SUV barreled down the alley toward us. Elena gasped, "They're everywhere." Not for long. I fired twice, rounds sparking against the hood. The driver swerved, tires screeching, and slammed into a dumpster. Smoke poured out as a horn blared. I grabbed Elena's wrist and dragged her down the alley, lungs burning, adrenaline flooding me. Behind us, shouts erupted. Boots pounding, men chasing. There! Elena pointed, her breath ragged. A sedan sat under a broken street lamp. Sleek and expensive. Too expensive for this neighborhood. My car, she gasped. Keys in my bag. I ripped the bag from her shoulder, yanked the fob, and hit unlock. The car chirped once. Inside. I shoved her toward the driver's seat. She fumbled, panic in her hands. I can't drive like this. Move over. I slid behind the wheel, engine roaring alive as I slammed it into gear. Bullets pinged against the trunk as we tore out of the alley. Are they following? She gasped. I glanced in the mirror. 2 black vans swerved onto the street behind us, headlights cutting through the dark. Yeah, they're not giving up. Her hand clutched the dashboard, knuckles white. What do they want from me so badly? Control, power, doesn't matter. I turned hard, tires squealing. Right now, all that matters is keeping you alive. We hit the main road, dawn breaking on the horizon. The first light cut across her face. Fear and defiance locked together. Why are you doing this? She whispered. Because for the first time since I buried my wife, I felt something alive in me. A reason to fight, not just exist. But all I said was, because I couldn't live with myself if I didn't. She stared at me, silent, as if she didn't know whether to thank me or curse me for dragging her into my storm. And as the city blurred past, another thought stabbed me hard. Lily. She was at home, safe for now. But with these men hunting me, hunting Elena, how long before they found her too? My hands tightened on the wheel. God forgive me. I've just dragged my little girl into someone else's war. The thought of Lily cut deeper than the bullets we just dodged. My little girl, still asleep in her room, trusted me to keep the monsters away. And here I was, dragging one of the most hunted women in the city straight to her doorstep. I pulled the car into the cracked lot outside my building. Elena sat silent beside me, staring through the windshield. Her hair was a tangled mess, face pale, but her eyes still burned. "This is where you live?" she finally asked, voice hushed. "Yeah," I muttered, "not exactly your kind of place." She gave the faintest smile. 4 walls and a roof sound like heaven right now. I wanted to believe her. Still, shame pricked at me. My home was small, worn, nothing like the glass towers her world was built on. But Lily was inside, and Lily was everything. I unlocked the door as quietly as I could, leading Elena into the living room. The dim lamp on the counter gave off a warm glow. Her gaze swept across the space. Second-hand couch, scattered toys, the little drawings taped to the wall. "Charming," she whispered, not mocking, almost tender. I was about to answer when I heard soft footsteps. A small voice called, "Daddy?" Lily stood in the hallway, rubbing her eyes with tiny fists. Her hair stuck out like a bird's nest. She froze when she saw Elena. "Who's that?" she asked, blinking at the strange woman sitting on our couch. I crouched down, arms open. "Hey, bug. Couldn't sleep?" She walked into my arms, warm and light, curling against me. I pressed my lips to her hair. "My safe place." "This is a friend," I said carefully. Elena stood, awkward at first, then her expression softened as she crouched too, almost at Lily's level. "Hello," she said gently, her voice lighter than I'd ever heard it. "What's your name?" Lily peeked up at me, then back at her. "Lily." "That's beautiful," Elena said, smiling. "Like the flower." To my surprise, Lily giggled. And for the first time since this nightmare began, Elena laughed too, a soft, unguarded sound that seemed to surprise even her. I felt something twist in my chest. That sound, that picture, my daughter laughing with this woman I barely knew. It did something to me. For one fleeting second, the war outside didn't exist. But the second ended. Reality slammed back in. I stood, carrying Lily toward her room. "Back to bed, bug. You've got school in the morning." She pouted. "But I'm not tired anymore." "You will be in 5 minutes," I whispered, kissing her forehead. "I'll sit with you until you sleep." Her arms looped my neck tighter. "Don't leave me, Daddy." "I won't," I promised. "Not now, not ever." When she finally settled under blankets, I sat by her side until her breathing evened out. Only then did I slip back into the living room. Elena was sitting on the couch, staring at Lily's drawing taped to the wall. Our stick-figure family, me, Lily, and the sun. "She's precious," Elena said softly. "You're a lucky man." I sat across from her, exhaling. Lucky isn't the word I'd use, but she's my reason. Elena turned to me, eyes glistening. "Then you understand. That's why I need you. If they kill me, it won't just be business lost. Families, lives, everything I built. It'll be torn apart." I shook my head, anger rising. "Don't do that. Don't try to tie my daughter's safety to your empire. My duty is to Lily. Not you, not your rivals, not your billions." Her lips pressed tight. Then she whispered, "And if walking away meant they find you? That man who escaped, he saw your face. He'll come for you. For her." My stomach twisted. She wasn't wrong. I rubbed my face with both hands. Damn it, I can't put Lily in that kind of danger. She's just a kid. She deserves a normal life. Elena leaned forward, voice breaking. "Do you think I wanted this life? Do you think I wanted bodyguards and boardrooms and enemies at my throat? I would give it all up just to be her, just be Lily. Innocent, safe." For the first time, she didn't look like a billionaire or a target. She looked human, fragile. I stared at her, conflicted, my chest heavy. A part of me wanted to push her out the door, tell her to disappear, keep my world separate from hers. But another part knew there was no going back. "Why me?" I asked finally. "You could pay anyone to guard you." Her gaze locked on mine. "Because you didn't take the money. You saved me when you didn't have to. You're the only one I can trust." The room went quiet. I heard Lily's soft breathing down the hall. The weight of both worlds pressed on me, my daughter's small, fragile one and Elena's brutal, bloody one. I muttered, "This is insane." She whispered, "It's survival." And then the phone on the counter rang, slicing through the silence. Elena's face drained of color. I answered, my hand trembling. A voice hissed on the other end. "You should have stayed out, soldier. Next time we don't miss." The line went dead. My stomach turned to stone. They knew, and my two worlds had just collided for real. The phone slipped from my hand, clattering against the counter. My chest heaved, my pulse hammering in my ears. "They know," I muttered. Elena's eyes widened. "What did they say?" I swallowed hard. "That next time they won't miss." Silence settled between us. Even the hum of the fridge seemed too loud. And then shattering glass. A brick crashed through the window, scattering shards across the floor. A note was tied to it. Elena gasped. Lily stirred in her room. My instinct screamed. I grabbed Elena by the arm. "Get down." Footsteps. Heavy rushing outside. Then the pounding of boots up the stairwell. "Daddy?" Lily's frightened voice cut through the chaos. My blood turned to fire. "Stay in your room, Lily." I barked. The door burst open. Shadows stormed inside, men armed, wild-eyed. Everything slowed. My body moved on instinct. I grabbed the nearest chair and slammed it into the first man's chest. He flew back into the wall. Gunfire erupted, tearing through plaster. Elena screamed and dove for cover. I charged the second man, wrestling the weapon from his hands. The metal was hot against my palms. I drove my elbow into his jaw, felt bone give way, heard him crumple. "Daddy!" Lily's cry tore through me. I spun, hard in my throat, just in time to see one of them lunging toward her room. "No!" Rage exploded inside me. I tackled him, fists raining down until his face was unrecognizable. My hand shook, slick with blood. His breath rattled once and then stilled. Another man swung at me with a knife. I twisted. The blade grazed in my arm, burning hot. I seized his wrist, broke it with a snap, and turned the knife back into him. He gurgled, eyes wide, before dropping. The last one hesitated, gun trembling. "You don't know what you're messing with," he spat. I roared, the sound ripping out of me like a beast, and rushed him. My shoulder hit his ribs, driving him to the ground. We struggled, the barrel turning, my finger forcing his own trigger down. The shot rang out, deafening. His body went limp beneath me. And then silence, only my breathing, ragged and harsh. My knuckles dripped crimson. My shirt was splattered. My living room looked like a war zone. "Daddy?" I turned. Lily stood in the hallway, clutching her stuffed bear, her little face pale. Her wide eyes locked on me, on the blood, on the bodies. Her lips trembled. You killed them." The words pierced me deeper than any blade could. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My daughter, the one person I swore to protect from the darkness, was staring at me like I was the monster. My chest caved in. My knees buckled, and I dropped the gun to the floor with a clatter. "Lily," my voice cracked. "I had to. They would have hurt you." "They?" She shook her head, stepping back, tears brimming. "You're scary." The air left my lungs. My hand shook as I reached out, but I stopped halfway, staring at the blood staining them. What if I touched her with these hands? What if I could never wash this away? Elena appeared then, moving carefully toward Lily. She crouched down, her voice soft. "Sweetheart, your daddy saved us. He did what he had to. One day you'll understand." Lily looked between us, then hid her face in her bear. She let Elena guide her gently back to her room, leaving me alone in the carnage. I sank onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. My whole body trembled. The taste of iron filled my mouth where I'd bitten my lip. My knuckles screamed with pain, skin split. What am I becoming? I swore to myself I wouldn't let war follow me home. I swore I'd leave the killing behind. And yet, here I was, drenched in blood, my daughter's innocence cracking because of me. Elena returned, sitting quietly beside me. She didn't recoil from the blood. She didn't flinch from violence. Instead, she placed a hand lightly on my shoulder. "You protected her," she whispered. "Don't lose yourself to the guilt. I lifted my head, eyes burning. She looked at me like I was a monster. My little girl. What if I am? Her grip tightened. You're not. You're a father, and fathers do what they must. Her words didn't ease the weight crushing my chest, but I clung to them anyway, because right now, the only thing heavier than the blood on my hands was the fear in Lily's eyes. And then, as if the night hadn't cut deep enough, my phone buzzed on the counter. I stared at it, dread curling in my gut. I picked it up, my hand trembling. A message flashed on the screen. You have what belongs to me. Get her back, or the little girl dies next. The world tilted. My grip nearly broke the phone in half. I whispered through clenched teeth, if they touch her, I'll burn the whole damn city down. The message burned into my eyes like fire. Get her back, or the little girl dies next. I stared at it, knuckles white around the phone, chest heaving. My blood boiled, but beneath the rage was fear, raw, choking fear. If they even breathed near Lily. Let me see, Elena said, leaning closer. I showed her. Her face hardened. He won't stop. He'll keep pushing until one of us breaks. I muttered. Then I'll break first. I'll go to him. Her eyes snapped to me. No. Yes. I shoved the phone down. If it's me he wants, then I give myself. He leaves you. He leaves Lily. That's the deal. Elena stepped forward, fury sparking in her voice. You think throwing yourself away will fix this? You think dying will make your daughter safe? She'll grow up without a father, haunted by the blood on these walls. That's not saving her. That's surrender. Her words hit harder than any bullet. Still, I growled back. And what's the alternative? Wait for them to storm through again? Wait for her to see me slaughter more men in this living room. From down the hall, a small voice broke us. Daddy? Lily stood there, clutching her bear, eyes wide. She'd heard everything. I crouched down, my throat tight. Hey, Bug. You should be asleep. She shook her head, tears brimming. You can't go. Don't leave me. My heart cracked. I pulled her into my arms, feeling her tiny hands grip my neck like a lifeline. I'm not leaving because I want to, I whispered into her hair. But sometimes daddies have to do hard things to keep their little girls safe. She sobbed into my shoulder. But I need you, Daddy. Please, don't go. I closed my eyes, breathing her in, her warmth grounding me. God, give me strength. Elena knelt beside us, her hand resting gently on Lily's back. Her voice was firm, but tender. Your dad isn't going anywhere without me, and I'm not running anymore. I looked at her, really looked. The fear that had once lived in her eyes was gone. In its place was steel. She wasn't just a billionaire in danger anymore. She was a woman who'd chosen to fight. Elena, I started. She cut me off. No, you've carried this alone long enough. Tonight, it's not just your war. It's mine too. I stared at her, torn between anger and admiration. Part of me wanted to shove her onto the first plane out of here. But another part, deep down, knew I couldn't fight this alone. I finally nodded. Then we finished this. Together. Her lips pressed into a determined line. Together. Later, when Lily finally drifted into uneasy sleep, I sat at the table with pen and paper. The house was quiet, except for the scratching of ink and the pounding of my heart. My Lily, I wrote, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't come back. I'm sorry I couldn't stay by your side like I promised. But I want you to know every fight, every breath was for you. You are my light, my reason. Grow up brave, kind, and strong. And never forget that I love you more than anything in this world. Tears blurred the words, but I forced myself to keep writing until it was finished. I folded the letter and slipped it beneath her pillow, praying she'd never have to find it. When I rose, Elena was watching me from the doorway. You think you're not coming back, she said quietly. I shrugged, throat tight. I've been in enough battles to know how they end. She stepped closer, eyes steady. Then let's make sure this one ends differently. We stood in silence, the weight of the night pressing down. Tomorrow would bring blood. Tomorrow would bring fire. I whispered, if I fall, protect her. Promise me. Elena met my gaze, her voice firm. I promise. But you're not falling. Not while I'm standing. My chest tightened with something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Fragile, dangerous hope. Outside, the city sank into darkness. And inside, I strapped on every ounce of courage I had left. Because when the devil comes to bargain, you don't kneel. You fight. The night pressed heavy around me, thick with smoke and silence. My body still ached from the last fight, but there was no turning back. Elena stood beside me at the warehouse door, her jaw tight, her eyes steady. You ready? She whispered. I adjusted the grip on my gun, forcing a breath through clenched teeth. No, but I don't have a choice. Her hand brushed mine for the briefest second. Then neither do I. The steel door groaned open, and hell itself roared back at us. Gunfire ripped through the air. Sparks flew off metal pillars, the stink of oil and cordite filling my lungs. I shoved Elena behind a crate and charged forward, every step fueled by the image of Lily's face. One man lunged at me. My fist cracked against his jaw. Another swung a bat. I ducked, drove my shoulder into his ribs, felt bones snap beneath the impact. I barely registered the pain in my own body anymore. All I knew was this. Every punch, every bullet, every drop of blood was the price of keeping my little girl safe. Move, move. Elena shouted, firing from cover. I dove across the floor, grabbed a rifle from a fallen hand, and lit up the shadows. Men screamed. Bodies fell. Still, more poured in the stairwell, their boots pounding like drums of war. My arms shook, my chest burned, but I forced myself to stand tall. Come on. I bellowed. You want me? Come take me. For a moment, it felt like I was winning, until I heard her scream. Elena! My blood froze. The leader emerged from the smoke, dragging her by the arm, a jagged knife pressed hard against her throat. His sneer cut through the chaos. Drop it, soldier, or she dies right here. My hands trembled on the rifle. My heart slammed so loud I could barely hear the shouts around us. He laughed, digging the blade deeper into her skin. You're nothing, a broken man clinging to scraps. And this woman? She'll bleed out before you can blink. Elena's eyes found mine. They weren't afraid. They were telling me something. Don't you dare give in. I felt the roar tear from my chest before I knew I was speaking. Who dares touch her? The sound shook the warehouse. It wasn't just rage. It was love. It was every sleepless night. Every tear Lily had shed. Every moment I'd failed but refused to stop fighting. I charged. Bullets whizzed past. Men shouted. But all I saw was Elena's throat against that blade. The leader shoved her aside to strike, but too late. I crashed into him with the weight of everything I had left. We hit the ground hard. His knife slashed across my side. I felt the burn, the hot gush of blood, but I didn't stop. My fists pummeled him, over and over, until his sneer turned to terror. You don't. I slammed his head into the concrete. Touch, another blow, my family. His body went limp beneath me. I staggered back, the world spinning. Blood poured from my wound, soaking my shirt, dripping onto the floor. My knees buckled and I collapsed. No! Elena's scream cut through the ringing in my ears. She was there in an instant, dropping to her knees, cradling my head in her arms. Her tears splashed against my face, hot and trembling. Don't you dare die on me. Not now. Not after everything. I tried to smile, but it came out as a grimace. Told you, I'd keep you safe. Then another voice, sharper, smaller, desperate. Daddy. Lily. I turned my head, and there she was, running toward me. Someone must have brought her when the shooting stopped. Her little hands grabbed mine, clutching tight, shaking me like she could pull me back to life by sheer will. Daddy, don't leave. Please, don't leave me. Her voice cracked, broken by sobs. God, her tears hurt worse than a knife. My chest felt like it was caving in, but somehow her voice, her tiny, fierce voice, held me here. I wanted to tell her I was sorry. I wanted to tell her I loved her more than anything, but all I could do was squeeze her hand, weak but still there. Elena bent close, whispering through her tears. Hold on. Just hold on. We'll get you out of here. Her arms tightened around me. No longer cold, no longer CEO and bodyguard, but something more. Family. My vision blurred, the ceiling spinning above me. The last thing I saw was Lily's face press against mine, her sobs shaking both of us, and Elena's eyes blazed with a promise I'd never heard before. I wasn't alone. Not anymore. Then the darkness closed in. Darkness had swallowed me that night in the warehouse, but when light returned, it wasn't fire or gun smoke. It was sunlight. Weeks later, I sat in a chair by a tall window, wrapped in bandages, breathing air that didn't taste like iron or blood. Lily's laughter carried through the open balcony doors. She was running across Elena's gardens, her little feet kicking through flowers I couldn't name. Every sound of her joy stitched me back together better than any surgeon's hand. Don't push yourself, Elena said softly from the doorway. She always said that, though I wasn't moving an inch. I smirked weakly. You've been saying that for 3 weeks. At this rate, I'll start believing you think I like this chair. She stepped closer, a tray in her hands. I just think you've earned the right to stop fighting for a while. I looked at her, really looked. Elena wasn't the same terrified woman I'd first pulled from a wrecked car. Her hair fell loose, her dress simple. Her eyes, though, they carried something heavier, softer. She set the tray down, then sat beside me. Silence stretched, broken only by Lily's voice outside. My heart clenched at how free she sounded, as if the world had finally given her back her childhood. You've given her something I couldn't, I whispered. Elena turned her head sharply. What do you mean? Safety. Normalcy. This place, your mansion, these gardens, her laughter. I forced the words out. I've been dragging her through fire her whole life. She deserves more than a broken soldier trying to play father. Elena's eyes softened, and for the first time, I saw no armor there. She reached out slowly, placing her hand over mine. You think she laughs because of me? She laughs because she has you. My throat tightened. I wanted to believe her, but the ghosts of me weren't so easily silenced. I nearly lost her. Twice. She saw me covered in blood. I saw fear in her eyes, fear of me. What kind of father makes his child afraid? Her grip tightened, gentle but unyielding. The kind who stands between her and every nightmare. The kind who takes the wounds, so she doesn't have to. I shut my eyes, exhaling shakily. Her words cut deep, because part of me wanted them to be true. But another part whispered I was just a man clinging to scraps, still fighting wars that ended long ago. Do you know, Elena murmured, her voice lower now, that I've never felt safe with anyone? Not my guards, not my board, not the men who swore loyalty to my family. No one. Until you. My eyes opened. She wasn't looking at me like a client looks at protection. She was looking at me like someone who'd found shelter in the storm. Elena, she smiled faintly, almost embarrassed. You pulled me from fire, from bullets, from fear. But it wasn't just that. It was the way you never hesitated. Like my life mattered, not because of money or power, but because I did. I swallowed hard. For a moment, words failed me. Then I admitted the truth I'd buried under scars and regret. I'm terrified every day. Not of dying, of not being enough for Lily, of her looking at me and seeing the man I used to be, the one who came back from war broken. Her thumb brushed against my knuckles, soft and steady. You already are enough. You always were. The words hit me harder than any bullet ever had. Something inside me cracked, not from pain, but release. For the first time since my wife died, I felt the weight lift, even if just a little. Outside, Lily's laughter rang out again. She was chasing butterflies now, her arms flailing, her giggles echoing through the garden. That sound was life itself, and I realized I wasn't dragging her into darkness anymore. I was rebuilding with her. I looked back at Elena, her hands still on mine, her gaze steady, vulnerable. You really believe that? She nodded. I don't just believe it. I've seen it. In every bruise you took, in every night you stayed awake to keep her safe, in every moment you thought you were failing, but never stopped trying. My chest ached, but not from wounds. From something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. I leaned back, exhaling slow. Maybe I can learn to believe it too. Elena smiled then, warm, unguarded, one step at a time. And you don't have to do it alone anymore. Through the balcony doors, Lily's voice carried up to us. Daddy, look at me. I turned my head, and there she was, arms stretched wide as if the world itself belonged to her. And for once, I let myself believe it could. For her. For us. Lily's soft breathing filled the room. Steady and calm, the kind of rhythm I used to pray for in the middle of sleepless nights. She was curled under her blanket, her favorite stuffed rabbit tucked tight against her chest. For the first time in what felt like years, her face was free of shadows, untouched by fear. I sat on the edge of her bed, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. My chest ached, but it wasn't the pain of old wounds. It was the weight of love, heavy and sharp in the best way. Behind me, Elena's voice broke the silence. She looks like she's dreaming of something beautiful. I turned my head slightly. She was standing near the window, the first hints of sunrise painting her silhouette in gold. Yeah, I whispered, forcing a small smile. She deserves dreams like that. No more nightmares. Not if I can help it. Elena stepped closer, lowering her voice. You've given her more than I think you realize. I glanced back at Lily. Some days, I don't know if I've given her enough. You have, Elena insisted, firmer this time. You fought for her when the world tried to take everything away. That's more than enough. Her words should have lifted me, but they stirred something deeper. I kept my eyes on Lily, speaking quietly. You know, when I came back from war, I thought my fight was over. Then I lost my wife, and it felt like the battle never ended. Just changed shape. Bills, grief, sleepless nights, the fear of failing her. Every day was survival. But looking at her now, I swallowed, my throat tight. Maybe I wasn't just surviving. Maybe I was building something without even knowing it. Elena sat down in the chair by the window, her gaze steady on me. You've been building a life for her, and for yourself. I let out a low breath. Funny thing is, I still don't know where I fit in yours. She tilted her head, her eyes catching the rising light. You don't have to fit. You already belong. Her words hit me harder than I expected. I wanted to believe them. Maybe I already did. But part of me couldn't let go of the truth I'd carried since Lily was born. My purpose began and ended with her. I leaned down, kissed Lily's forehead softly, and whispered, I'm not going anywhere, baby girl. From the bed, her sleepy voice mumbled, Promise, Daddy? My chest tightened. Promise. Her little hand reached out, finding mine in the dark. Within seconds, she drifted back into sleep, but she didn't let go. I sat there for a long time, holding her hand, watching her chest rise and fall. My mind wandered, back to battlefields, to blood, to fear, to every moment I thought I wouldn't make it. But every scar had led me here, to this exact moment. Maybe that was the point all along. Elena's quiet voice pulled me back. You're different now. I raised an eyebrow. Different how? You're not just fighting anymore, she said. You're living. For her. For yourself. Maybe even for me. I met her gaze across the room. There was no fear in her eyes, no walls, no mass of wealth or power, just a woman who'd been broken and found strength again. Just like me. Maybe, I admitted softly. But no matter what happens, no matter where this road goes, my promise stays the same. Elena nodded, almost as if she already knew what I was about to say. To her, I looked back at Lily, at the small hand clutching mine like it was her lifeline. Yeah, to her. The sun climbed higher, spilling light into the room, painting everything in warmth. For once, I didn't feel haunted by the dawn. I felt ready for it. I turned toward Elena, speaking the words that had been written in my bones since the day Lily came into this world. I'll protect her, love her, guide her, no matter the cost. Whether I walk this road alone or with you by my side, She will never doubt that she is my purpose." Elena's eyes glistened, but she didn't look away. "And what about you? What do you need?" I smiled faintly, squeezing Lily's hand gently. "I'm her father. That's all I'll ever need to be." Silence followed, but it wasn't empty. It was full of peace, of promise, of something new waiting just beyond the horizon. And for the first time in a long, long time, I believed we were going to be okay.